Imagine waking up one September morning in 2025, grabbing your car keys, and heading out for what should be an ordinary drive, only to discover that overnight the rules of the road have completely changed. Petrol stations suddenly feel more expensive if you own an older vehicle, new signs warn you of toll charges on roads that were once free, and a small mistake with your phone at a red light could now cost you nearly as much as a month's rent. For millions of drivers across the UK, September 2025 is not just another date on the calendar. It is the month that driving itself has been reshaped by a set of laws that are already causing shockwaves from London to Leeds, from the motorways of Manchester to the country lanes of Cornwall. This isn't just about tweaks to existing laws. This is about a government that says it is prioritizing safety, emissions, and fairness. While many ordinary drivers feel the changes are hitting them hardest, right in their pockets. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. But before I break down every single one of these shocking new rules, I want to make sure you don't miss any of the vital updates that affect your daily life, your pension, and your rights as a UK citizen. So, if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, because on this channel, we bring you the truth about the latest government changes, DWP updates, pension rules, NHS news, and now even driving law reforms that directly affect your wallet. Subscribing means you'll never be caught off guard, and trust me, with laws like these, staying informed is more important than ever. Now, let's paint the full picture of what's happening on UK roads this September. For decades, British roads have been both a source of freedom and frustration. Drivers have long accepted the endless stream of changes, from rising fuel duties to congestion charges, from low emission zones to motorway speed cameras, but rarely has there been such a concentrated burst of reforms hitting all at once. September 2025 is being remembered as the month when 5 major new rules were rolled out in one sweep, and drivers are already calling it a toll road shocker, a fines frenzy, and in some cases, a tax grab disguised as road safety. But whether you agree with the reasons or not, the fact is these rules are here. They are live, and if you don't know them, you could be at risk of hundreds or even thousands of pounds in penalties. One of the most immediate shocks has come at the petrol pump. For years, governments have been pushing greener driving through the expansion of electric vehicles and the tightening of emissions standards. But this September, a new layer of regulation has been slapped on older petrol and diesel cars. If your vehicle fails to meet modern emissions thresholds, you're not just paying more in clean air zones. You may now also face higher duty charges every time you fill up at selected motorway and urban petrol stations. Imagine pulling in for your usual fill-up, only to realize the price per litre is effectively higher for you than for the driver in the next lane, simply because your car is 5 years older. It feels unfair, and that's exactly what many drivers are saying. But the government's argument is clear. If you choose to keep driving higher polluting vehicles, you're going to shoulder more of the cost of the pollution they create. On top of this, big motorway service stations have been told they must expand their EV charging points, which sounds like a win for the future, but it comes with hidden risks. Service stations that fail to comply face heavy fines, and drivers who still rely on petrol or diesel may find themselves in longer queues as forecourts rearrange space to prioritize electric charging bays. For an older driver making a cross-country trip, this change can feel more like punishment than progress. But as tough as fuel rules are, nothing stings more immediately than fines. And the second major law change has already caught thousands of drivers out. Using your mobile phone while driving has always been risky, but from this September, the fine has more than doubled. What was once a £200 slap on the wrist has now exploded into a £500 penalty with 6 automatic penalty points on your license. Get caught twice, and you could be staring at an automatic driving ban, no matter how careful you think you are. The wording of the law has been tightened too. No longer is there any grey area about whether you're allowed to check your phone at traffic lights or while stationary in traffic. The law now explicitly states that even holding or touching your phone while stopped at a red light is illegal. Think about how many people glance at their messages or skip a song while stuck in traffic. That simple action could now cost you hundreds of pounds and put your license at risk. Campaigners argue this will save lives by finally ending the culture of drivers sneaking a quick phone check when they think nobody is watching. Critics say it's yet another example of a government trying to squeeze money out of ordinary people. The truth is probably somewhere in between, but one thing is certain. If you're used to resting your phone on your knee at a red light, you need to break that habit right now. The third big change is where the shock really sets in for everyday drivers. Toll roads are no longer just a rare annoyance like the Dartford crossing or the M6 toll. September has seen the expansion of toll sections across several major UK motorways, and the system itself has been transformed. Payments are now contactless only, handled via pre-registration systems, and heavier or more polluting vehicles are charged higher rates than lighter or cleaner models. Miss a payment, even unintentionally, and you could be facing fines of up to £100. For families taking long journeys, this means carefully planning routes or risking a sudden charge where they least expect it. The government argues that this system is fairer because those who pollute more pay more, but for many, it feels like yet another hidden tax on mobility. Drivers who live in rural areas, where public transport is weak and cars are essential, are feeling particularly punished. Imagine a pensioner couple living on the outskirts of Manchester who rely on their car to visit family, suddenly finding that a once-free route now costs money every time they travel. That's not just a minor inconvenience, that's a monthly dent in their already stretched income. Then comes the issue of speeding, the fourth major law change this month, and one that many drivers are calling the biggest cash cow of them all. Across the UK, new average speed cameras are being installed, not just on motorways, but on rural roads that have a history of accidents. These aren't the bright yellow boxes we're used to. These are sleek, discreet, and highly accurate systems that track your speed over long distances, meaning the old trick of slowing down for a camera and speeding back up simply doesn't work anymore. And the penalties have skyrocketed. The maximum fine for serious speeding offences has jumped from £2,000 to £3,000, making the UK one of the most expensive countries in Europe to get caught speeding. Repeat offenders within a 12-month window don't just pay fines and receive points. They are now required to attend mandatory driving courses, a move designed to reform behaviour, but one that critics say is just another money-making scheme dressed up as education. Picture yourself driving down a country road you've known your whole life, where you might have gone a few miles per hour over the limit without issue. Now, one mistake, one slip of the accelerator, could cost you thousands and force you into a course that eats up your time as well as your money. But it doesn't stop there. The fifth major change this September has shaken the insurance and MOT systems that every driver must deal with. Insurers are now legally required to provide clearer breakdowns of premium charges, a move that might sound like it benefits consumers, but also reveals just how much extra drivers have been paying in hidden fees for years. For many, seeing the breakdown is shocking, but it at least provides a chance to shop around more effectively. At the same time, MOT requirements have been tightened for vehicles under 3 years old. Traditionally, newer cars had relatively straightforward MOT checks, but now inspectors must carry out more stringent tests, particularly focused on emissions and safety systems. Any serious fault means your vehicle can be taken off the road immediately until repairs are made. For a young family who just bought a car 2 years ago on finance, this could mean an unexpected and costly repair bill long before they thought it was necessary. Again, the government insists this is about keeping unsafe and polluting cars off the roads. But to many, it feels like an extra burden landing squarely on ordinary drivers. Together, these 5 changes paint a picture of a driving culture under siege. Supporters argue that they will make roads safer, cleaner, and fairer for everyone. But opponents see them as the clearest sign yet that driving in Britain is becoming a privilege only the wealthy can comfortably afford. And this is just the start. On the horizon, new consultations are looking at even more dramatic reforms, from compulsory eyesight tests for drivers over 70 to lowering the drink-drive limit in England to match Scotland's stricter rules. Roadside saliva tests for drug driving are being considered, and there is talk of harsher penalties for uninsured drivers. The message is clear: the government is not done tightening its grip on the nation's drivers. So what does this mean for you, sitting at home, perhaps worried about your next journey to see family, your daily commute, or even just the occasional weekend trip? It means knowledge is power. Knowing these changes before they catch you out is the only way to protect yourself from unnecessary fines and charges. Check your vehicle's compliance if you drive an older petrol or diesel model. Break the habit of touching your phone in traffic. No text or song is worth a £500 fine and 6 points on your license. Register for toll payment systems if you live near newly tolled roads. And if you can, plan your routes carefully to avoid unexpected costs. Stick religiously to speed limits, especially on rural roads where new cameras are being installed. And finally, stay on top of your insurance policies and MOT requirements, because being caught off guard, there could take your car off the road entirely. As frustrating as these laws may be, ignoring them will only make life harder. Drivers across the UK are feeling the squeeze, but those who stay alert and informed will at least avoid the worst of the penalties. And that's why this channel exists, to make sure you're not left in the dark about the decisions that affect your everyday life. Now, let me ask you, do you think these changes are genuinely about safety and the environment, or are they just another way for the government to rake in money at your expense? I want to hear your thoughts, so drop your comments below. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe right now, because the next set of changes, from pension reforms to NHS shake-ups, is just around the corner, and you deserve to know the truth before it hits your pocket.